Evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the Binghamton City Council for the work session Wednesday, 6 September 2023 at 6 p.m. Please stand for the pledge. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Clerk will call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Resonetti.
Present.
Councilwoman Riley is absent. Councilmember Friedman.
Present.
Councilman Burns.
Present.
Councilman Strawn.
Present.
Councilman Scanlon.
Present.
And President Scringy.
Present.
That's 6 here, 1 absent. Riley.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilwoman Riley is present. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Resonetti for the purposes of a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the minutes from the August 23rd, 2023 business meeting.
Do I have a second? Motion by Councilwoman Resonetti, seconded by Councilman Scanlon. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The minutes are approved. Move on to public comment. Residents wishing to submit public comment may do so electronically by emailing their comments prior to 1 p.m. on the day of the meeting to clerk@cityofbinghamton.gov or in person during the meeting. Madam Clerk, do we receive any electronic submissions? Thank you. Seeing as no electronic submissions were received and there is no one present, we'll move forward with the non-preferred agenda. Chair recognizes Councilman Scanlon for the purposes of a motion concerning introductory ordinance 23-116.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introductory ordinance 23-116, an ordinance to amend the 2023 fire budget to accept the third round of New York State healthcare workers bonus for personal services.
Do I have a second? Motion by Councilman Scanlon, seconded by Councilwoman Resonetti. Discussion. Seeing none, is the question called? Questions have been called. The clerk will call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Resonetti. Councilwoman Riley.
Aye.
Councilmember Friedman.
Aye.
Councilman Burns.
Aye.
Councilman Strawn.
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon.
Aye.
And President Scringy.
Aye.
6 ayes. Or 7 ayes, sorry.
What was that roll call again?
That was 7 ayes.
7 ayes. Thank you. Introductory ordinance 23-116 passes. Chair recognizes Councilman Scanlon for the purposes of a motion regarding introductory ordinance 23-117.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introductory ordinance 23-117, ordinance to amend the 2023 budget to unallocated ARPA funds for the permanent ordinance 21-87 for broadband improvements with the Southern Tier Network.
Do I have a second? Motion by Councilman Scanlon, seconded by Councilwoman Resonetti. Discussion. Seeing none, is the question called?
Call the question, Mr. President.
Question's been called. The clerk will call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Resonetti.
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley.
Aye.
Councilmember Friedman.
Aye.
Councilman Burns.
Aye.
Councilman Strawn.
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon.
Aye.
And President Scringy.
Aye.
That's 7 ayes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Chair recognizes Councilman Scanlon for the purposes of a motion regarding introductory ordinance 23-118.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introductory ordinance 23-118, an ordinance to allocate ARPA funds for police officer retention incentives.
Do I have a second? Motion by Councilman Scanlon, seconded by Councilwoman Resonetti. Discussion. Councilman Burns.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, this retention ARPA money, my feeling is that the ARPA money is designated for certain items, that it can only be spent for those items, and this is one of those items. And I support the Binghamton Police Department. I always have since I've been on city council. Um, I know when I ran for mayor, there was a commercial that was a complete lie saying the opposite, and everyone here has said to me that it was a lie. I wish everyone publicly would say it was a lie, but I have supported the Binghamton Police Department, and our patrol officers deserve to be paid more money than they are paid. I agree with that 100%. I would be, you know, we're I think it's 23 officers, 23 positions that are missing in the police department. If we only filled 10 of them, decided we could go with that many, take the money, keep all the money in the budget and give all the patrolmen a raise, I'd be all for it. They deserve to be paid more money. But when it comes to this ARPA money, we've already given them, I believe, their share of this fund. They each got $3,000 last year. And it's for an incentive to stay with us. And from what I understand, some people received the $3,000 and still left. I don't know how many that was. I wish I did. And I also don't see, I would even be for this. I would vote for this, yes, if each patrol officer signed a document saying that they're going to stay for at least a year from the time they get this $3,000. But we're not doing that. So we're basically gambling with the money and hoping for the best. And I just don't think that's prudent under situation, you know? So, you know, we don't have unlimited funds to be gambling with. So that's how I feel about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other Councilwoman Reed?
Thank you, President Scaringi. I think we all know what I'm going to say already. This, in my opinion, is ridiculous, frankly. This is almost $500,000 that we, like Councilman Burns said, we've already allocated some ARPA money to a police retention incentive, and we don't even know if it worked. Like, we have no data to show that this is even an effective use of money. Imagine if I came in and I said, hey, I want $500,000 raises for literally anyone else, city council, right? Y'all would look at me like I was out of my mind. This is a huge amount of money. We've already allocated some ARPA money to this, which was, in my opinion, a mistake as well. And like Councilman Burns said, some of the officers still left. This in conjunction with an RL that's coming up about the PBA, you know, the wages, like the police officers are some of the best paid employees already. And if I forget what the breakdown was of the last ARPA retention incentive, but it was something like an additional, what was it, few $1,000s, right, per officer. If that's not enough, in conjunction with the fact that they already make more than almost any city employee besides some of the department heads, it's not working. Like, it's not the money. We can't just throw money at an issue and expect the city of Binghamton to be safer or recover from COVID better, right? $500,000 could do, and it's not exactly, it's almost $500,000 could do so much good for so many more people. And this is just simply ridiculous. I know that y'all are going to vote for it. And I hope your constituents are disappointed in you. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other discussion? Councilwoman Riley.
Thank you, Council President. I guess you guys can assume what I'm going to say. As I've mentioned, every time we've discussed allocations for ARPA funds, the money and the rate at which the amount we were allocated was because of the poverty in this city. This was an opportunity not only to look at what other municipalities across the country did with their ARPA funds. I sent that to everyone. And it was a time for us to be innovative and reimagine how to support the lives of those we say we represent. Yet here we are at the end of a budgeting and planning period where we hear people saying, because the money must be spent before a certain date, we're going to now give money towards the purchase of things opposed to the extension and establishment. We heard that quite a bit yesterday. There have been municipalities that looked at the frontline workers across the entire city and decided to support them through rescue funds. That was creative. That was equitable. That showed the value or the perceived value from the county electeds, the city electeds, in terms of their support and how they valued frontline workers. We can do that. I've not seen a resolution yet to support the nurses and the doctors that worked with our COVID patients. There was another city that then took the COVID money and assigned waivers and vouchers to assist in home renewal, home upgrades, and retention plans to ensure that not only were residents able to stay in their homes, but the things we talk about in terms of code issues, bad, poor shingles hanging off roofs, fences lying on the yard. I know you all receive those code emails all the time, but they use the ARPA money to help sustain and revitalize the community, to not only help those that and may have faced hardship, but also help recruit, retain other residents that may want to buy in the area. This was our time again to be innovative, but what we did, as many of us always do, is go with what comes before us. This is not the best use of ARPA funds. We've heard some ideas. I don't think those are the best use of ARPA funds either. And as my colleagues mentioned before, we have no data to determine if this worthwhile or deemed appropriate by those who even received it. We know there was a failure because those that received the retention bonus were not retained. If there were a clause, as we discussed, that said, if you vacate the job within 1 year to 2 years or something like that, they would have to repay it. That then would say, okay, this retention bonus works because they're being retained. So again, I echo the sentiments of my colleagues, and I just wanted to go on record with the fact that we, again, have not been innovative with this fund that many of you didn't support at the beginning of COVID, but now has become a treasure chest of sorts for the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Is there any other discussion? Councilwoman Resident.
Mr. President, as I'm out in the community, knocking on doors and listening to constituents, public safety appears to be really number one or one of the top issues. And of course, that includes law enforcement, our police, and an understanding often, and then our folks articulating that we need to do more of our officers. From the recent seeing them walking the beats or being on bikes, or all of that is being embraced by so many. And in some conversations that I had specific to this, people are excited. We have not been competitive with other municipalities. And with this, I'm hoping that with this change, these positions will be more competitive and will help us to recruit more candidates. And it wouldn't be fair to my constituents if I didn't mention that. And so, and also, say that I take this very serious, and that I will be supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other discussion? Yeah, I'll just add to that as well. I appreciate all the comments that everybody has given, and I know this is this stuff along this delineation isn't always easy, but the lens I always kind of look at this through, again, I know with respect to the constituents that I represent, and I know a lot of us hear this. The two major categories of calls I know I get is anything either related to public safety or code, right? And with our officers, I would maintain it's the level of competitiveness, not with respect to other city hall employees, but other departments around the county. And I know all of us in some way, shape, or form have done a ride along, and I know that our officers financially, when you comparatively look at them with respect to what they have to deal with in other departments, there's definitely an undervaluation there. So given that, I'll definitely be supporting this as well. But I appreciate all the comments. Any other discussion? Questions have been called. The clerk will call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Resonetti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley,
Nay.
Councilmember Friedman,
Nay.
Councilman Burns,
Nay.
Councilman Strawn,
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon,
Aye.
and President Scringy.
Aye.
That's 4 ayes, 3 nays, Riley, Friedman, and Burns.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Introductory ordinance 23-118 passes. Chair recognizes Councilman Scanlon for the purposes of a motion regarding introductory ordinance 23-119.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introductory ordinance 23-119, an ordinance to amend the 2023 Police and Corporation Council budgets for legal services.
Do I have a second? Motion by Councilman Scanlon, seconded by Councilwoman Rosanetti. Discussion. Seeing none, is the question called?
Call the question, Mr. President.
Question's been called. The clerk will call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Resonetti, Councilwoman Riley,
Aye.
Councilmember Friedman,
Aye.
Councilman Burns,
Aye.
Councilman Strawn,
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon, and President Scringy.
Aye.
That's 7 ayes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Introductory ordinance 23-119 passes. Chair recognizes Councilman Strawn for the purposes of a motion concerning introductory resolution 23-70.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introductory resolution 23-70. Ask council for unanimous consideration of introductory resolution 23-70. A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Binghamton Police Benevolent Association for the years 2024 through 2026.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a second? Motioned by Councilman Strawn, seconded by Councilwoman Resonetti. Discussion. Councilwoman Freeman.
Thank you, President Scringy. So I alluded to this when we were discussing the retention incentive. But looking at this wage schedule and comparing it to the census data on the median household income of people in Binghamton, New York, the median household income is $39,000 and the per capita income is $27,000. So all of these are more than that. And most of these are double or triple the median household income. Now I have to ask myself, does this make our community safer? Is this something that is the taxpayers in this community are getting a good return on their investment, right? Everyone pays taxes, and then it's our responsibility to take those taxes and allocate them in a way that best serves the residents of this city. And so to imagine that the police officers, and I'm not saying they don't have to deal with a lot of stuff, right? But so do a lot of other people. I don't think that making double or triple what the average person makes is something that is a good return on investment. It doesn't make our communities safer. And in fact, I would argue that we could be allocating our tax dollars to other things that would actually make our community safer. Thinking about not only the average, the median household income, but also how much, the salaries of other city hall employees, some of whom have kind of timidly asked for raises, to be on par with other cities or what they you know, how they feel their work ought to be valued. I mean, this is like above and beyond what most people in City Hall are making and what most people in the city of Binghamton are making. So I can't support this as a good return on investment for our residents' tax dollars that they are entrusting us to allocate. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, is the question called? Question's been called. The clerk will call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Ressenetti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley,
Aye.
Councilmember Friedman,
Nay.
Councilman Burns,
Aye.
Councilman Strawn,
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon, and President Scringy.
Aye.
That's 6 ayes, 1 nay. Friedman.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Introductory resolution 23-70 passes. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Ressenetti for the purposes of a motion concerning introductory resolution 23-71.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consideration for introductory resolution 23-71. A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a preservation covenant with the New York State Office of Parks and Recreation and Historic Preservation for the restoration and relocation of the Rose Park Carousel.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Ressenetti, seconded by Councilman Scanlon. Discussion. Seeing none, is the question called? Question's been called. The clerk will call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Ressenetti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley,
Aye.
Councilmember Friedman,
Aye.
Councilman Burns, Councilman Strawn,
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon, and President Scringy.
Aye.
That's 7 ayes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Introductory resolution 23-71 passes. Move on to communications from council members. Begin with Councilman Scanlon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Briefly, so on Monday, I guess it was on Tuesday, Tuesday, I got to see there was an officer on a bike on my side of town, which I'd never seen before. And then I drove a couple blocks down to see 2 officers walking the beat. So I'm imagining if we could find a way to fill those 21 spots that are empty in the police department, that means 7 more people on a shift. You could certainly do more walking beats, which I think are great. But I think I'm glad we were able to pass the policeman's raises tonight. I hope it keeps them here. It gives a leg up on, I think, from them running away from us and going to other places where you're paying more. So again, I'm very happy to support the Binghamton Police Department, and they keep us safe out here. So kudos to them. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Ressenetti.
Thank you. So this last time we met, we had a very successful Porch Fest on the west side. I want to say big thank you to everybody who organized, to everybody who participated. What an incredible event that was. It was really, I think, one of the best. It just keeps growing and growing for a good reason. It's a lot of good fun. It's a lot of fun for the community. Labor Day came and went. I hope everybody had a good holiday weekend. On Monday, on the holiday, I drove by Rec Park, and it was great to see people actually working on the tennis courts. So it looks amazing. Today, I believe they were doing some of the finishing touches. So I encourage folks to just drive by. Should be open any day. And of course, we'll be able to give you more details on that. Schools are open. Binghamton schools. Congratulations to all of the kids going back. I hope nothing but the best as far as this school year goes. And lastly, I wanted to just highlight an event that is taking place this Sunday, September 10th. And it's the 13th annual Binghamton Fire 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb. It'd be great if folks are able to attend. I went there last year. I wasn't able to do the stairs for the entire time to climb those stairs, but I tried. But it's really just about being there and honoring those who lost their life on that day, and just thinking about their families. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Riley.
Thank you, Council President. Believe it or not, some of the things Councilwoman Ressenetti said were going to be in my highlights. As you know, I've been a long supporter of Porch Fest. I think it is one of the greatest. And since the west side is the best side, and usually mostly towards the east side of the west side. No, I'm just kidding. It's a lot of fun. Again, kudos to the entire team. We had a lively volunteer group. You can see all of those who volunteered or contributed, donated their time, whatever, in the brochure. So make sure you look at that list of supporters, because we want to recognize them. I also want to highlight, we're approaching the end of baseball season. Let's go Rumble Ponies again. One of our great activities here in the city. The Sabakas have been amazing. There was recently this past weekend, we highlighted a sign in recognition of Bud Fowler, which was a Black player here in Binghamton, which was amazing. It was part of the historical trail that City Council approved. That was not a personal grant from anyone. That was a City Council approved expenditure. You know, we donated out of our CDBG funds to support the Harriet Tubman Trail. So look around the town and take a few photos. It might be great for your Facebook. So that was great. And again, please, I love the games. Try it. It's a good time. I also want to highlight this weekend is Luma. Again, another great event that brings people into the city. I know we gave free parking for the last event this time, but again, it's a great time to go out and meet all of your constituents, be them from your own district or abroad. So I look forward to seeing everyone one of the nights this weekend. Always several things happening in the 3rd district. Also this Sunday, we are recognizing, and I will be working with this team to develop a proclamation. It's the 150th anniversary of, now I'm going to mess up the church. What? Oh gosh, I've forgotten the church's name, but there will be a proclamation that will be going forth, and I will bring it back to the council after I have those notes in front of me. But nevertheless, no, not going to be. It's right there on Main Street, the big one where we vote. Where do we vote? No. Okay. I'm usually better prepared. So charge it to my head and not my heart. But again, I will read the resolution after it's completed, and that'll be I can read it on Thursday. Yay. I'll read it on Thursday. But not to take up all the time, but you know, I am a healthcare practitioner. So I have to highlight that this is also National Sickle Cell Awareness Month, September. You know, sickle cell awareness is critical. It's one of the most common inherited blood disorders affecting African Americans. So it's critical that we are aware of this disease, the signs and symptoms, and encourage those that may be a part of the population with the greatest incidence have access to equitable healthcare, not healthcare where they're afraid to ask questions or are certain that they will receive the care we need. I also wanted to highlight that September is National Recovery Month, which is the time to promote and support evidence-based treatment, meaning if we're treating in 2023, it's not from 2014. Evidence-based treatment and recovery practices for the strong and proud recovery community. So again, I support all efforts to support mental health, recovery, addiction, treatment services. And this is our month to ensure that we are supporting those agencies that are doing such to address the epidemic we face here in this city and country. No, it's right there on
Maine.
Right
It's like right over the bridge.
No, it's
No.
here, right before the Speedway. Main Street, I think it's called. All of you should have been invited. Weren't you all invited? The church on Sunday? No? Oh, gosh. Okay.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. That
Okay.
concludes my report. Unless I remember the church's name. I know one of you will yield the floor to me to remember the church's name, because we all want to be in service on Sunday. Tabernacle. Tabernacle Church. Okay, so TAB is celebrating 150 years, and there will be a celebration this Sunday at 3:45. So I will send an email so everyone can join me and will be with me as we read the proclamation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Freeman.
Thank you, President Scaringi. Councilwoman Riley mentioning Luma as if I wasn't going to mention it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, next to Porch Fest, Luma is one of my favorite days of the year. It's one of those days that really makes me happy to be in Binghamton and feel like there is a lot of life here. It's proof that there is amazing creativity and capable, dedicated people here. So if you have not been to Luma, or if you have, you should come. There's a lot of other stuff happening. So tomorrow there is a Northside Assembly meeting, and I will be there for about 20 minutes. But that's at the Centenary Shenango Street United Methodist Church on the north side. We have some special guests who are coming there to talk about tenants' rights and code, and they can answer housing questions and things like that. Then the 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb also happening in the 4th District. Y'all took my events. That's on Sunday, like Councilwoman Raffinetti said, Sunday, September 10th. There's also the Buy Nothing Market. That's not in the 4th District, but something worth mentioning. So that's at the Emmanuel Presbyterian Church on Shenango Street. And that is an amazing opportunity where you can, clean out your closet or anything. You can bring donations at 10 a.m. and then you can take whatever you want. It's just like a free swap. It's very cool. I got a nice pair of pants the last time I went. And I was able to get rid of some clothes that I wasn't interested in. And lastly, before we meet, next weekend is Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. So happy New Year, Chag Sameach. I hope that everyone who celebrates is written in the book of life for a good and sweet year, full of health, wealth, and happiness. And that is all that I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Burns.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, Porch Fest was great, and Luma, looking forward to it. And let's see, I saw a couple of officers walking on the west side. I was dropping my granddaughter off for her piano, and I stopped and talked to them. And I wouldn't stop and talk to an officer in a car, but they were walking. They were just walking and chatting, and it was inviting to speak to them. And I think that it really makes people feel good that they're out there, that they're approachable. And that I think it's going to make a big difference in the long run. This whole thing of them walking the beat. I haven't seen them on the south side. I'm sure they're over there, but I haven't driven by them yet. Then I'm glad that we are working on another subject on the carousel at the Ross Park. The carousels are very important to this community, and that one has been on standby and not being used for a long time, and I'm looking forward to it being moved up to where the train used to be. Tom might remember the train, Ross Park. I don't know what happened to the train ride. It went off the tracks somehow, but it did go off the tracks one time, actually. But the carousel is going to be up there out of the flood zone, and that's going to be great. And then the Crowley building on the south side is everything's moving forward to that. There's going to be some new apartments there. That's going to bring some revitalization to that area, which is needed badly. So I want to congratulate the mayor and Sarah and her staff for that. And then the folks that were in here last night for the first ward was at 187 Clinton Street. And it's what, 120 apartments or something like that. And then when they said that the rent is going to be about $800, affordable, I mean, really a real affordable housing for people and a lot of apartments, and they're going to be new apartments. I mean, that's fantastic. And so I want to congratulate the mayor and Sarah on that. And I'm also glad that we did get the police their raising tonight. So I think there's some good things going on in Binghamton. And I'm glad I live here. So thanks.
Thank you, Councilman. I have a motion to adjourn. My throat. What, second?
Second,
All right, I'm gonna go with motion by Councilwoman Resonetti, seconded by Councilwoman Freeman.